Welcome, everybody. This is Nightmare on Fifth Street, a horror movie podcast, and we are celebrating Alma's birthday. She turned 29 this year.
Shut the hell up.
Oh, I'm just saying, you turned 29 this year. What the fuck, man?
You look so good for 29.
Okay, so I am Dalia, and we have Alma, the one that was just mean to me and yelled at me. And we have a very special guest today. We have Sharai from Nightmare on Fierce Street. And Sharai, do you want to introduce yourself and your awesome podcast?
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and a happy birthday season, because it's not over until you're done with your season.
Yeah.
If that's 2 years from now, so be it. I am Sharai. I co-host A Nightmare on Fierce Street, which you can find at allmylinks.com/A Nightmare on Fierce Street. We are also always on the Twitter and the Facebook and the Instagram, and you can find all of that from that original link too. We also talk about horror, so this is fun, and it's been a long time coming, and I'm happy that these are starting. Yay!
You're also a writer.
Yes, I am also. I am also a writer in my downtime. So I write articles and plays, and I'm playing with pilots and stuff like that, and that's a good time too. So if you would like to know more about my own shenanigans, I am on Twitter as well at Miss Sharai. Yeah, MISSSHARAI. Yeah.
And I'm going to share all of that in the show notes for when we record this. And I don't know, Alma, if you want to drop that stuff in the chat so that if anybody wants to copy and paste that for later. But yeah, you are a great writer. You are like, I'm like, oh my God, I wish.
I love your stuff. I read everything that you link to and it's great.
Thank you.
I'm like, me not good with words. You're good with words.
But I did want to mention you did a play on Zoom. I didn't get a chance. You put it on, but I think you shared it, but I didn't get to see it.
No, I can send you the link. It's unlisted, but yeah. So I, as a playwright, people have been doing lots of virtual theater, and my friend who wanted to direct for this place, because he was looking for stuff to direct. He's a director. He found this place, and it was not a good place for us, and so we were no longer invited to participate. Like 16 days from the event. Boo. And my friend and the actors were like, let's just do it anyways. They were going to pay us an Amazon gift cards. So like, we're not like really hurting for money. So they did it on Zoom because nobody owns Zoom. Like clearly we're all doing what we want live. And so it actually went really well. And we had some donations. And so the actors made more than $20 Amazon gift card. So
awesome.
Yay for them.
Are you going to do more?
To us. Oh yeah. We're going to do so many more things without other people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we want to know all about it, so make sure you're following Sharai. That way we know when she's doing all this cool stuff. All right. Okay, so today we are talking about Carrie and The Thing, which are Alma's most favorite movies in the whole world. Right, Alma?
Yes. Well, I got so many, and I say that all the time. It's like, this is my most favorite movie, but I think I have like a good 20 movies that are my favorite. Carrie. We're going to do that one first. Carrie is a movie that Dalia and I, we're big Stephen King fans. We grew up reading Stephen King books. A friend of the family that we loved so dear, he had the membership for the Stephen King book club. So every time there was a book, every time there was a book, he got the new book, and he had bookshelves like it was a library, and it was pretty much just Stephen King and National Geographic. And we borrow the book like it was a library, and we take it home and read it. We read it like it was a bedtime story.
Do you remember the only way we could check out a book was if we gave him a book report on it? Do you remember that?
Oh yes, we had to give our review of the book. Yes, and so Carrie was one of the first ones, but I do remember it specifically just because Dalia and I took turns reading it to each other like it was a bedtime story, like way too young, horrified. And so Carrie, of course it was. We chose Carrie to watch, and we watched it on VHS. Everything was videotapes back then. And so we have to do Carrie, of course. Carrie was made in 1976, directed by Brian De Palma. Screenplay was written by Lawrence D. Cohen, and that was based on, of course, Stephen King book. starring Sissy Spacek, Piper Laurie, Amy Irving, William Catt, Betty Buckley, Nancy Allen, John Travolta, and PJ Souls. And this was John Travolta's first movie role. And that was fun. My husband had never seen this movie before, so I love it when we catch one. Never seen it. He never seen it. But he wasn't allowed to watch, like...
He needs to stop saying that, because he's been an adult longer than he was a kid.
So, yeah. So when he saw that we were watching this, the whole time he's looking up how old everybody is, because he did not believe it. John Travolta, I think, was 21 or 22.
It's a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I didn't know Sissy and like the really mean girl, like the lead mean girl, whose name I just forgot. Yeah. They were like 27. I thought they were like teenagers because they look so young.
Mm-hmm. They do. Oh, they actually, this is one time when you're looking at Sissy Spacek and you're like, no way. She was 27 already. She did look really young. She did. And yeah, and you know, like all the people, but like the guys mostly, I think looked way older, and they were actually the younger ones. So
well, Sharai, do you have a history with this movie? When was the first time you watched it, or only recently? Or
I also grew up loving Stephen King. I wanted to be the next Stephen King when I was a kid. Like my first novel was Salem's Lot at like 12 or 13. I like read through it because TNT was like, we're gonna do it tonight. They always do it, but for whatever reason, that's when it read they were gonna do it. So I was like, I have to finish it so I can see the movie. But I love Carrie. I always was drawn to her as a character. I think that she is possibly the original the good for her genre.
Yeah,
like when she absolutely does what she does, we're like, good for her. I would have done her.
Sympathize with her. She wasn't the bad guy at all. She is just the whole time you feel her and you're like, yes at every turn.
Yeah, I would have been such a fan. I would have been like, you're missing someone over here, Carrie.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started, but first I'm gonna go ahead and share the trailer to Carrie in case you all have. It's been a while. Let's see.
It's the night of the senior prom. The Bates High School gym is alive with excitement. Everybody is there, even Carrie White, the girl no one likes.
We're all sorry about this incident, Cassie.
It's Carrie!
And everyone makes fun of her. The girl who lives in that creepy house with her crazy mother.
Help the sinning woman see the sin of her days and ways. Show her that if she had remained sinless, the curse of blood would never have come on her.
The girl with the strange power.
If I concentrate hard enough, I can move things.
But tonight, no one will laugh at Carrie.
If you don't have a date for the prom next Friday, would you like to go with me?
She's with the best-looking boy in the senior class.
You're just trying to trick me again.
She'll be voted queen of the prom.
You know, I can make sure that you don't hurt Carrie White anymore.
For Carrie, it will be a dream come true. For everyone else, it will be a nightmare. Carrie. A new film by Brian De Palma. Based on the chilling bestseller. Starring Sissy Spacek, Piper Laurie, and introducing John Travolta in his first motion picture role. If you have a taste for terror, you have a date with Carrie.
I love that. I love that. It's so funny though, the way he describes like the weird, I can't even remember now, the weird girl and like all the thing. Oh, she's gonna get this, and it's like, oh my God, the setup for it was great in that trailer. I can only imagine what it was like if that was the actual official trailer at the time, because it showed a lot, and it showed I wouldn't say a lot of gore, but it showed that violence. And I'm thinking like in the 70s, how was that, received?
Maybe it was a theatrical trailer, like when you were at the movies and not something. Yeah, because I don't even remember like movie, what's it called, previews on TV. Like, why don't I remember that,
Yeah, I've never seen the trailer until now because I need to look for more trailers of stuff I grew up watching, but I never do. And so I was like, that's a lot of the stuff that happens.
Exactly. It's like you find out, and then it says introducing John Travolta, and then you see him die. I'm like, okay, so now I know John Travolta's gonna die. Okay, got it.
You ruined the whole thing.
He was busy with Welcome Back, Mr. Cotter, and so he could not be bothered to do a full.
Exactly.
Go back to work.
No,
okay,
we had. I was going to say, we had a comment from Bianca that said, I think Carrie is a rite of passage for horror lovers. I think that's perfect. What we can use. We're gonna put that on the episode.
It's true. Yeah, I think so too. Especially, I guess, for the way they describe Carrie. I'm like, I think I grew up like a weirdo. I'm like, I felt her. It's like, can I do that too? Oh no, I can't. All right, okay, I'll just watch it.
I definitely sat and stared at objects with my telekinesis books, hoping that I could move stuff. And a marble moved. It moved, and I know it wasn't gravity.
Did you bump the desk?
It was on the ground. I put it on a flat surface because I was like, gotta make this legit. But I was like 10 years old staring at this marble. I can move you. Carrie says I can.
You were breathing on it. Move. All right, Alma, go ahead and get us started so we can start talking about Carrie.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to be reading this one is from Wikipedia, and I didn't know this, but it says she's 16 years old. I thought she was 17 or 18.
No,
but it says, okay, so shy 16-year-old Carrie White, who lives with her fanatically religious mother, Margaret, is unpopular at school and often bullied by her peers. When Carrie experiences her first period in the school shower, she panics, having never been told about the process. Carrie's classmates humiliate her by throwing tampons at her while chanting, plug it up, until the gym teacher, Miss Collins, intervenes. Following conversations with Miss Collins and the principal, Carrie is dismissed from school for the day. After arriving home, Margaret tells Carrie that her menstruation was caused by sin, and she locks her in a prayer closet to pray for forgiveness. At school, Collins reprimands Carrie's tormentors, punishing them with a week-long detention. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so let's unpack all of that.
Shower scene time.
Okay, Sharai, what are you thinking during this shower scene?
This shower scene, first off, it's very traumatic for her, and you feel that secondhand trauma because, like, again, her mother was not right, which is why a lot of things happen that didn't need to happen. And so you're empathizing with her, but you're also like, we've been in the shower forever, Mr. De Palma.
So, thank you. It was like, can you be any more creepy? It's just like,
there were so many other ways of getting that without being like, let's hang out in this high school shower.
It could have been like, if they really wanted to portray that's the way it was, it could have been like quick little, here and there. But it was so much lingering. And it's like, okay, yeah, we know what our own breasts look like. Okay, we know what a vagina or vulva looks like. Let's keep moving.
And the music choice was weird because it felt like a tampon commercial. So I'm like, it's not even like you're doing it in a sexy manner. What is the vibe?
It was like the fogginess and everything. This scene was actually reshot for TV with strategically placed towels so the girls weren't seen. And then I remembered that was a thing, like there'd always be like the cut versions for TV. So he reshot that purposely to make sure that they got that shower scene in there. But we just got a larger TV, and my husband was like, whoa, they really did that shower scene.
Oh, poor Sean.
In our faces.
Oh, I love that. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I am amazed that every time I watch this movie, I get pissed off as much as I do every single time. Every single time I think this time it'll be fine because I've been through it. I know what happens. No, I just get so pissed off at everybody. It's just like, I try to think back to my high school years, and maybe because I was the weird kid, I just can't imagine ever doing this to another human being. It's just like, oh, it's so gross.
No, like we are doing a Stephen King deep dive for reasons on Fifth Street, and I was just like, how many of these books and movies are really built around a town not having access to someone to help them with their mental health? Because there's a bunch of sociopaths running around being awful to each other and cutting each other and throwing tampons at each other, and I'm just like, oh my god, Stephen, are you okay? And I'm concerned for all of them, and also concerned that so many people failed this girl, which is why we're like, good for her, roast them all, because so many people failed her whole life, and finally she's having a moment, and they throw pig's blood on her, and I'm like, you set them all on fire. You can't be.
I'll help.
The bullying is out of control. It's like one point with our favorite character Thalia, and I freaking hated red hat chick Norma, and it was like the whole movie were like screaming, take off the damn hat, take off the damn hat, and she hits Carrie over the head with it when she walks past her, and it was like, and even the people who are like not doing the bullying are just like,
laughing or just fine. Oh, it's so, that's what's weird about it. That's why I said it's like, I'm trying to remember my high school years, but even if they weren't actively bullying, they were like still a part of it, because it's not like they looked away or anything like that. No, they were all like ha ha ha, and stuff like that. It's like, what the hell? It's about, I know it's a movie and all that, but it's a lot of this stuff you kind of get it from somewhere. And I did see that Stephen King said that he based this character on a couple of students that he went to school with, not as obviously extreme as this, but that he would just notice how these weird girls were being looked at by everybody else. And that's kind of where the inspiration came from.
Yeah, no, I, as a weird girl, a weird woman, it's always weird, because again, like, society is like, you need to be this thing because you're a girl, and gender norms are always gross and wrong, as we all know. And so to have that on top of, again, this girl who's been left with this woman and nobody has intervened. Like, the teachers know what's going on, her coach knows what's going on, the other kids know what's going on, so their parents know what's going on, and nobody's ever been like, should we check in on Carrie? Should we see about getting someone to like go into that house? And instead they're just complicit, and it's gross, and it's very America, because America is complicit land.
They just leave them to handle it. Like, that's not my business. Those are situations where it is your business. And by the time that Miss Collins intervenes, it's too late. It's too late. They're like, oh, her mom is like this, and this is like that. And it's like, by that point, this girl is traumatized in the shower, screaming. She slaps her to like get some sense into her, just like to calm her down for a second. And then she's blown away at the fact that this girl has no idea what her menses is, like no clue that this is what's going on. And they don't have any talk with anybody about it. They're just like, I love the principal's face though, when she's talking to him, because that was like the male point of view back then, was like, that's none of our business, we're not going to talk about that.
A lot of men are still failing in that conversation, which is why we have all these government officials who don't understand how that works, and they're just like, what's wrong with this tampon text? Just like, you can just stop that, you can shut it down. And it's like, why don't you understand basic science? I was homeschooled and I understand enough science to know you shouldn't be in office.
It's scary. You're right, because like you said, there's a few places that do it, but recently it was one particular place that was going to start giving free sanitary napkins and tampons and stuff like that, and there was an uproar like, why should they get free? I'm like, do you fucking understand how this works? And not only was he didn't know what the hell was going on, but the principal didn't even seem to care. Like, how far you have to work real hard to, okay, you don't know her name, that's fine. I'm bad with names, I get it. Then don't keep saying the wrong name over and over. And it's just like, okay, because I'm like, if I don't know someone's name, I'm not going to say it. But no, he insists that he's right over and over. Cassie. It's just like,
he's in charge. It's like, he's so more horrified at the situation that he is at the period situation than he is about anything else. And he just wants her out of there. And it's just like his in charge, kind of sleazy, you know, the way that they'll talk down to you, Cassie. And this is when she has her like first moving the ashtray. And I couldn't stop thinking about how she's standing there with the smoke coming up and having to be a part of secondhand smoke all the time.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Was that experience for you? Did you have to deal with that?
Yes.
I always wondered if it was like parts of the world that were different, or parts of America, or the 80s and 90s. When did it stop being a thing where you were just like having smoke blown in your face as a child? You know,
I was especially mad as a kid because like my younger brother and sister both have asthma. And like it was clear that you should not be smoking in front of children, let alone children with asthma, but like always forever smoking.
Yeah.
And I
and they used to do it on planes. What the hell?
Yeah. The buzz everywhere at the restaurant, smoking or non-smoking section. And I remember our mother would sometimes say smoking section. She didn't smoke, but it was because there was space to sit there. So we would go sit there, and you just had it like all just blowing in your face while you're eating as a kid. And I'm like, that's probably why she moved that shit. She was like, stop smoking in my face, watching that cigarette, and then knocking it over and moving it for the first time. And I like the music, that it's a ghost. That's what we always say.
Alma always says it's a ghost. I'm like,
it is. It is. Just believe one day it will.
Someday.
They use that same little beat, the little 4 like note of what's that movie? Why am I forgetting that movie? Psycho. It's the Psycho music that's the beat over and over. So every time they're doing that sound, you know something's going to happen. And I like that. I thought it was of the time or whatever. But, you know, every time that little sound, like the music was going to tell you something bad was going to happen. And that was fun. I don't know if you can get away with it these days, but, you know, back then you could.
That's one of my thoughts though, is because Carrie hinges so much on tension and one main event. And then of course there's a lot of fallout from that event, but it's like we're building to this thing and we don't get that a lot anymore.
Yeah.
You need so many scares to keep people. And I'm guilty of being that person that's like nothing happened, only one person died. But also I feel like
only one person died.
Problem.
Okay, real quick. I saw that Bianca said she remember. Okay, so man, I remember a road trip to the Midwest around the 2000s. Restaurants still had a smoking section. Yeah, it's like, but I'm so glad that it's like. But even then, they're having like places outside. I know I'm going to stop after this. I promise. No more tangent about the smoking section. But like, but it's like down the smoking sections outside. But it's like, but some people like to sit outside and get fresh air. It's just like stop.
And then there's no fresh air.
Yeah. Okay, Alma, you want to go ahead and break into the next part?
Okay. So, all right. Somewhere in between there, the teacher's doing her detention, and she threatens those who skip the punitive measure will be suspended for 3 days and barred from the upcoming prom. However, Carrie's longtime bully, the wealthy and popular Chris Hargison, I didn't even know she had a whole name, walks out. She walks out of the detention while they're doing all their jumping jacks. Remember, she was all, And plotting vengeance against Carrie, Chris and her boyfriend, Billy Nolan, break into a local farm and kill pigs to drain their blood into a bucket, which they place above the school's main stage in the gymnasium. So, Chris, that's the queen. And she's in a huff and everything. But I love okay. So I know they don't do it anymore, but the shaking of the student and the slapping of the students, who doesn't want to do that sometimes? She deserved it. She deserved to get that slap.
She did. Especially because like as a Gemini, I get wanting vengeance, but like to go kill a pig and play it in pig's blood to get it.
I know, right? It's like, so to get
up.
revenge like this, you're going to go kill something else so that you can, you could have done it with paint. It would have been just fine.
Yeah.
Haven't they ever watched like Angel or My Best Friend's a Vampire? You go to the butcher and you ask them for pig's blood. They just give it to you in quarts, you know? And then they could have just saved up some of that. But for some reason, it's like, let's go kill. The plan kind of just like jumped. Like how'd they get from here to let's murder a pig?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, she's gonna get exactly. Where did that idea come from? Exactly. It's just so fucking messed up. Do you think, Sharai? Do you think she would have gone as far with her revenge if the coach hadn't slapped her? I'm curious. What you think?
I think that was the last straw. The coach slapping her and being like, "You don't get to go to prom." And so she was like, "Oh no, I am very basic. This is my whole world you just ruined." But like, I can't see how I'm the culprit in this story. So it's Carrie White's fault for me bullying her, which is very America. Like,
it's a lot of misplaced aggression, exactly, because it's like I should be mad at this, but I'm going to pick on this under here. I see that. It's like instead of being angry up here, let's pick on the person below us who we deem to be less worthy. And so she picks more on Carrie and uses all of that rage because she gets slapped. She gets called out in front of all her friends. Nobody gets her back. Even her friend Sue, who already feels guilty and horrible about what she's done, is looking at her and it's like, just shut up. Because really, shut up. Yeah. Get out of here. You know, they didn't want to have any of that.
Yeah, no, I don't understand that lack of awareness and wanting to have accountability, because I feel like accountability looks good on everybody, but for some reason certain privileged people don't. And so they're just like, instead of me owning what I've done, I'm going to find ways of bending the truth to make me the victim. And we see that a lot every day. And it's why she's the ultimate villain, and you want her to catch the fire, but she gets out, and you're like, no, don't let her escape, Carrie. And Carrie's like, don't worry.
I got this.
Carrie's a superhero.
She is. What I think, okay, so this is where sometimes we do this, me and Alma, but like, okay, she is horrible. She's absolutely disgusting, and she deserved everything that happened to her. However, as a person with supposedly really good friends, I'm also thinking like, none of her friends had her back. I would have been pissed. I'm like, you have to have at least one friend that regardless of what you're doing, they're going to like be there like, yeah, but like, no, none of them. And so, like I said, she deserved everything that was coming to her. But that one part where nobody had her back, I'm like, not one person. I would have been upset if not one single friend stood up with me.
That must have hurt. And instead of like, she doesn't get mad at any of them.
It's because I feel like deep down she knows she's off the rails, and even her like stooges won't be like, yeah. They're like, you really outdid yourself this time, and maybe we should be quiet. She's like, no, I can't hear you. And then like, I guess we'll show up and count ballots, but like, you're really off the rails. And she's like, I can't hear you, cutting up pigs. And I'm like, what's wrong with you?
And the whole relationship with John Travolta is creepy, and it's okay. Well, obviously, it's he's abusive, but I'm not saying put it aside. But if let's say he didn't do that, it's also this whole dynamic with them. Do they tell us how much older he is than her, and anything more, or what's going on with that dude?
Not in the movie. I think the book makes a point of how much older he is, but it's been so long since I've read the book.
Yeah, it has been a while, so I don't remember. And I know that everybody knew who he was because she even asked, like, who are you going to the prom with or whatever. And it's like, he's definitely not in school. But to me, he looked like 28.
Yeah.
He was like 21.
Well, they made him look like, with the way his attitude, the car, the way he was just... that he was supposed to be much older than her. And then the way he treats her, it's like, that seems to be another thing, like in movies, in stories where they have this character, this female villain, however you want to look at it. And then she has this guy who's abusive or shitty or just no good to her or something. It's like, I see that a lot. And sometimes, and again, she was horrible and she deserved everything that happened to her. But at the same time, I kind of want to see sometimes where that dynamic is either different or maybe she's the one that's, more powerful in that relationship. I don't know. That's just how I think sometimes.
Yeah, that would be more interesting. Unfortunately, Uncle Steven almost never gives us that. Again, we're doing a deep dive, and I'm seeing themes that I've always known were there, but now it's like they are all right here.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear that.
Okay, I'm off the thing. All right, so up next, let's see here. Chris's best friend, a prominent figure in the school student council regime, planned to rig the prom queen election in Carrie's favor to get her on stage. Meanwhile, Sue Snell, a deeply remorseful classmate, asked her handsome and popular boyfriend, Tommy Ross, to invite Carrie to the prom. Carrie initially thinks the proposition is a prank, but he insists that it's genuine, and she reluctantly accepts after Miss Collins consoles her. Back at home, she begins to discover that she has telekinesis as she shakes off her shyness. Ooh, shakes off her shyness, the way it
Well, I just wanted to say real quick too, if y'all see me go quiet for a little bit, this is a new platform for us, and so I can't find the mute and the unmute, so I'm having trouble when I'm trying to find it and everything like that. So, but no, yeah, it's like, okay. So can we just talk about how their luscious hair real quick? Sue and her boyfriend. I have always been jealous of their hair. The curls. I always wanted hair like that. So jealous.
I think it's when they're together. They were just like, we have amazing hair, so it makes sense that we would date.
They're the power couple. Okay. Power hair, power couple.
They condition each other's hair on the weekends. Like, it's very cute.
I love that. I love that. But I love their hair. Okay, yeah, I've been obsessed over it, so we can keep going. But yeah, I mean, so his character, Alma knows I'm bad with names. What's his name again, Alma?
Tommy.
Okay. So Tommy's character, I love his character because he does he had to be convinced to do it. But he seems genuinely like a good guy. Unless I miss something that I keep missing, but he seems like a genuinely good guy all the way to the end. But I don't know. I like him a lot, and even though he's doing this favor for her, he was never in on any that I can see bullying or part of the prank either. So I don't know. I really like him.
Same. And I think he's got to be likable because he dies in the book and maybe in the musical too. I don't like the musical. It shouldn't have happened.
I have not seen that.
As a theater person, sometimes we do things we shouldn't do, and the Carrie musical is one.
Now I have to see it.
Yeah, now I feel like I have to see it too. That would be
There
fun.
are links on YouTube of some schools. But it makes sense that him and Sue are likable, especially because in the book, and they don't get into it in the movie so much, Sue finds out she's pregnant, which is part of the reason she's like being empathetic and she's rethinking her like connection to the mean girl. She's like, I'm about to have a kid. Shit's about to get serious. And so you're like, they could make it work if he lives, and then he doesn't. But she does, and she has the baby, I'm pretty sure, in the book. But
I can't remember. I was trying to remember the book because I read it a long time ago, and I had planned to read it again, but I didn't get a chance to. So I just looked up real quick on the what was it, Wikipedia or Goodreads or something. I don't know.
I want one of the remakes to let her have that afterwards, because they all kind of end after Carrie does all the things and has a showdown with the mom. And then we'll have like a little bitty dream sequence or something with Sue, but we don't get into the here's what actually happened afterwards. And I think that this is something that would work being told through the eyes of other people a little bit. We've
absolutely.
It 3 times. So like, let us.
Exactly. Just like in the book, tell us all the different perspectives and everything.
I think that that extra background with her would have made more sense too, because in the movie you can't really get too much in their character as you would in the book. And my husband mentioned it because he said he just didn't see how she went from being like the ringleader. She was the one who opened up the tampon dispenser and started shouting, "Plug it up!" Like they show her first, and then all of a sudden she feels he didn't see that, and it was like it doesn't come across her being just a complete 180 to sympathetic. I feel horrible. I have a good idea. The whole time he's believing till the end of the movie that she's in on the evil plan, because it just wasn't believable for him to see that change and the shift in her motivation, So that would have been a great way. Just put a little bit in there so that she has like a little bit more to her depth to her character, because it wasn't as deep, in the movie. Sue's just going from point A to point B.
Yeah. It's one of the things that I wish we could have seen, just because like she's such a cool character, because she is the mean girl who actually does figure out that like life is beyond high school. She's about to grow up real fast. And we don't get that here at all. And it's a disservice to her character and some of the things that could have been cooler about this movie.
Yeah. Well, like what was the cat chick? Alma?
Oh, Norma.
Norma. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about her because every single time she's on the screen, I want to punch her.
Yes.
First of all, the way I know it's kind of funny. I think we read. Correct me if I'm wrong. I remember reading that she wore, I think, the red cap once to like a reading, or like they were just going through lines, and then whoever it was said, "Oh no, you're gonna wear that the entire." And she was like, "Really? You want me to wear this hat throughout the entire?" So that it became, that's how it happened. She just wore it to like, like reading or something. It wasn't supposed to be on camera, and they liked the way it was, and so that's why she's wearing it the whole time. But I wanted to fucking go over there, take that hat off her, and just slap the shit out of her. And then she's always chewing fucking gum. I hate that sound. Alma knows I have misophonia, and it just makes me want to reach through the screen and just like, oh my God, she's so punchable. She's so punchable. I mean, seriously, I do not like this woman. And so this character, I mean, this actress plays it really well. I think she does.
Yeah, even when she's talking to Chris at one point, when she's asking about the plan. Now, Dahlia used to do an impression of Norma during the prom because she drove her so nuts. And it was she was infuriating. But even when she's talking to Chris and asking, "I'm your best friend," and chewing the gum and everything, Dahlia kept doing it because she was like, "Oh, I just want to punch her right in the face over and over."
Is mischief, which again, that one of the things that I call BS on every time I read or see this is, why would these kids let the mischief kids handle the ballots when they know them and they're right? It's like, you only cause trouble. Why would we let you do this? Nobody was like, there's a plot afoot.
Oh yeah, exactly. I would have 100% just smelled that a mile away, but. Yeah. So the other thing with, so there was another character. Oh God, not her boyfriend. God, I should have written all this down. I'm sorry. The one that is at the salon, and she's like talking
Helen.
to the. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I always get mixed up, and that's why I said I always want to write this down, because was she the one that ends up showing her around at the prom later, or is that a completely different character?
That was a different character. That one comes in and she's really, really nice. And she's genuine, like, let me show you around. No, Helen has the glasses, and she is not nice. She was joining in all the bullying and everything.
Okay, I saw the bullying. I didn't know if she like switched over, because like I said, I mean, sometimes I'm also bad with faces sometimes too. So that makes more sense, because I was thinking like, why did she turn? And I've watched this movie like 1,000 times, and it's funny because I tell Alma this every time. I like rewatching movies because sometimes I forget something that happened. And like, I'll be like wondering like, what's about to happen? And then it's like, oh yeah. So I like that I forget stuff, from the last time I watched it. So apparently I never remember that this chick is a completely different one. So
at the salon, Norma even has her stupid hat on top of the.
I didn't see that.
What's that thing called? That hood.
Hair dryer. Yeah.
Hair dryer. I've never had one of those.
I never noticed that. I have never noticed that. Now I have to look that up. See, I'm writing notes down so I can get this all later.
Every time you see her, you see the hat, which again, a sign of chaos.
What? Yeah.
So at this point, they're all like getting ready for the prom and stuff, and Carrie gets that talk from Miss Collins. And I always remember this because she took her aside and she was like, "Oh, you'd look really pretty if you did something with your hair and you put a little makeup on." And I thought that was very sweet that she took her aside. But right after having that conversation with her, I think is the point where she talks to Sue and Tommy and is like, "Y'all better not be messing with her." And she's like all pissed. And it's like, I thought it was sweet that she took the time to talk to Carrie without saying, "Oh, they're playing a joke on you," but then made sure to talk to Tommy and Sue to make sure that they weren't pulling a prank. But then that's when I agree with Dahlia about, I feel Tommy was like, good intentions. He was being good, like he had a good heart, because even if he's just doing it for her, I love the way he's sitting there like he can't even say anything because he's just
You know what,
I
Alma? He reminds me of Sean because he'll do, because he loves you so much. He'll do whatever you ask him because he knows. Like I like that I like his character. He's the only one I think that's true from the beginning, because I actually hate that scene with the coach, because I hate that it has to be, oh, you would look so pretty if you pulled your hair back, if you did this, a little bit of that. I'm like,
yeah,
why the fuck does she have to do that? Yeah. I mean, I get the whole like confidence thing. Like, why don't you, I'm not saying she should have, but it would have been different if she had said like, look up and look people in the eye or something like that, something more practical. But no, let's put some lipstick on you and let's curl your hair. It's just like, I don't like that. It's gross.
That's one of those times where you're like, I could have almost forgotten this is written by a man, but here we go. Because this is definitely like, oh yeah, a little bit of lipstick and smile, and it's like, no, we don't say that to each other. Yeah, I think that I forgot until I was rewatching it this time about their moment in the classroom where the coach is like reading this poem that this kid may or may not did right, and Carrie sort of sticks up for him in her own quiet way. And then he calls him an asshole or something. I'm like, oh, see, like, he strikes me as the kid who's not popular, as in I need these to be popular for my life, but accidentally popular. And so he's an actual person who happens to run with this crowd, but doesn't want to run with the crowd. And I think that's another reason why we're rooting for him a little bit.
Yeah.
Another comment about the makeup thing, Dalia. I had made a note because I think this is what started the whole teen trend movie, where if you just take off your glasses, you'll be pretty and do your makeup and hair. Well, I think the reason that they did it for this movie was because in the book, of course, Carrie was supposed to be overweight and had a lot of pimples or whatever. And so they cast Sissy Spacek, and she's thin and clear-skinned and has nice complexion. And so they needed to go a different route, which was if she just fixed herself up, she would be, and that's why they went that way. But, it wasn't meant to be that way. But I always say this is what started the teen. Ooh, look at, all of a sudden I'm gorgeous.
Right? I hate that trope. I have rants and essays on that trope. Because again, like, a lot of people are just pretty and society's just awful, and that's just all there is to it. But it's also because you pointed out how Carrie's described in the book, and we never see that when we see a Carrie ever.
Yeah,
whether it's
you're right.
a film, whether it's a television situation, whether it's this awful musical that keeps happening. She is always your like size 5. Sometimes she's a brunette because brunettes are unattractive, apparently. I don't know. But she's never like your actual teenager. She's never like, I've had an M&M in my life. It's never that.
Exactly.
It's never that.
But okay, so now let's go to mom at home, because mom is I'm not trying to offend anybody who is religious. I'm talking about this lady. This lady is a religious nut that uses religion to not just, just everything, because her husband left her. I was going to say Sissy Spacek. Carrie confronts her with that later because he left with another woman. And this woman is trying to make everything right, I guess, with her religion. And poor Carrie gets the brunt of it through abuse, through emotional abuse, everything. So she goes home. Mom never told her about her period because it's sinful and she gets punished for all that. And then now she's going to go to the prom, and mom's like, there's a reason I'm bringing this up, Alma. So the mom tells her, they're all going to laugh at you, blah, blah, blah. You can't go. So Alma, you have a story of one of your kids.
That was your story. That's what you said.
I wanted to mention this particular part. I mean, all of it, because the mom is just horrible. But I mentioned this particular
the line, the famous line, because we used to shout, "They're all gonna laugh at you" all the time. But it's interesting. My boys were ready to go to school, and they're all ready, and they're nervous, and both of them are really anxious and nervous and not feeling good. And then in walks my daughter into the room, just woke up. And looks at both of them, points and yells, "They're all gonna laugh at you." But that's all she did. That's all she said.
But in her little tiny baby voice.
In a little kid voice.
And she
and
meant
I had no idea
too.
why
That's what's
she
great.
did it. Yeah, it came from her soul. Like we've always said that she was like the one who will, like, you might say something to offend her. She's going to come back at you tenfold. She's coming for your soul.
Yeah.
Like,
and I just, I love that
really
because
want to wake up in the morning.
they were defeated after that. They were defeated. Like, okay, we're not going.
It was so mean. They were all crying.
She's funny.
I relate to that. I had a lot of older brothers, and you have to remind them who's in charge.
Yeah. But yeah, so mom is horrible. She just can't see any way that her daughter is going to be happy in any way unless it's through her way. I love that. Again, I'm not condoning violence, but in movies I do. In movies I do
not
because
real. It's okay.
Exactly. I absolutely love that she did do something to her mom. That she showed her right away as soon as she knew, and then she used it instead of waiting. She right away started showing her, hey, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna whatever. She pushed her to the wall or the bed or whatever it was. She did it right away, and it wasn't something that culminated later. Well, it did in a big way, but at least right away she started showing her mom the second she started getting those powers.
Yeah. No, I love that because again, like she's going back home to this awful place where everyone abuses her and this town lets her. Because when you're a
Everybody
kid,
knows.
Somebody has to intervene when you're a kid. That's just all there is to it. And I hate that. I hate people who watch children just be abused. It's like, not my business.
Yeah.
And so I love that because at the end of the day, Carrie's a survivor who happens to like clear her house, her mother, and herself at the same time. But she is a survivor because she's made it to this part of high school.
Yeah.
Without any help, without any guidance. Yeah. And she's like, hey, no more. Yeah. I have power now. And I have agency now. Don't do this with me, lady.
Yeah.
And mother's not ready to hear that. Yeah. And Carrie's like, well, I'll see you after my prom then.
Yeah. And then she says, I'll be home early. I love that. As she's walking out, I'll be home early, Mom. And I'm like,
that was so,
see, her mom's
she's still being considerate.
Yes, her mom's horrible. Respectful. She abuses her. And even though she showed her mom, like, I got these powers, she's still gentle with her mom and like, trying to explain to her and that I'll be home early. And I'm like, look at that. What the hell?
Such a good kid.
I know.
Who needed help and nobody helped her. And I think that's another reason why we root for her is because like she doesn't do anything wrong. Like she literally we come on and people are terminating her. People are slapping her in the face. Her mother's like lying to her and gaslighting her and throwing her in the closets. And she's just trying to go to school and just trying to not rock the boat. Like even when Tommy's like, we need to go to prom. She's like, no, my mother will get upset. And I'm like, Carrie, your mother's an awful person.
Yeah.
It's fine. And she's like, my mother will get upset. She's like, I will be home early because I don't want to get into trouble. And even at the prom, she's like, if you want to hang out with your friends, it's fine. He's like, I'm inviting you.
Yeah.
Because she has no self-esteem because, again, raised by this awful human being.
Yeah.
And so it's another reason why we are like, I am tired and stressed and I am fed up. I need you to be fed up too, Carrie.
Yeah.
And when she unleashes, it's just like, I've been waiting for that.
Oh,
every time.
Well, because I mean, they started right away as soon as she walked into the prom, and what is with the fucking like instant laughing at her? She's just fucking walking in. Why are they laughing?
The laughter really pisses me off. One of the things I noticed in the background was like how at one point there's a custodian cleaning off the wall that says Carrie White eats shit, and it's like. There's so much. She shows up. She's beautiful. She made her own dress, and it was like, and the first reaction, and not only that, but she's ignoring it. Like she walks by I hate it so much. But it's like a genuinely like evil laugh that these people are looking at her and laughing like. What is funny? What is funny? It's so enraging. I just want to slap all of them. I guess we get this is right before I was going to mention, that's when she leaves for the prom, I had made a note because I guess I never really paid attention when she pushes the mom out of the way, and then she's like, "I'm going to go. I'll be early." And then the mom shouts something about she denounces her as being a witch, but I can't remember the line. But I didn't ever remember catching that she said that, because then it plays into what happens later, what she decides to do. But it was like, okay, I'm going to let her go, but when she comes back, I'm going to do something. But she says something about her being a witch right here that I guess I never really noticed. And also maybe because I had the bigger TV with the captions and everything was like in my face and I'm reading it on the screen.
I love that.
I need to watch every movie like this now. Just everything. The prayer closet, it still gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
That was awful torture. It was like the really scariest thing in the beginning of the movie was the thought of being in that closet, the way she locks her in. And I'm like, whoa, that was like really heavy and just anxiety. That's just how I felt.
Yeah.
And the creepiest crucifix I've ever seen in my life. Like Jesus' eyes were glowing. And I was like,
where do you get that? I know, right? It's horrible.
I think you make that. You have like a craft night. You invite your friends. What should I add? Glowing lights behind the eyes.
Oh God, yeah, that prayer closet and that's horrible. But okay, so at the prom she's enjoying herself. And I love that she's enjoying herself. Tommy's being such a sweetheart to her. I told you I'm bad with names. The girlfriend, Sue. Okay, Sue. She goes to watch what's going on. And I thought that was really sweet. And watching from afar. And Tommy, I don't know. I know I keep talking about him, but it's just, I really love his character, just the way he includes her. That one friend, now that I know that she wasn't a bad guy turned good girl, she was really welcoming to her. And I just wish it hadn't ended the way it did, because, it was so nice. It was just, everything was nice. Real quick, I want to mention, sorry, I didn't mean to snap you off. Did he know that, he saw his name on the ballot. Their name was their name going to be on the ballot before the prank? Or that's what I'm a little confused on, because he did say, she says, we're on here. And he goes, yep. And I'm like, so he wasn't in on the prank, but.
I think because he's popular, he's always on it, and whoever he brought was going to be on it by association.
Okay.
And I don't think Carrie had thought that through, because Carrie's like, somebody asked me, I'm going.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think it would have been Sue, because Tommy is popular. Like, remember she had like the little newspaper clipping next to her broken mirror that said Tommy, what was his last name? Whatever his last name was, wins the baseball championship or whatever. She clipped it out of the newspaper and put it next to everything so she could see it. So yeah, he was popular. So that's why he was, on the ballot. But, then meanwhile, what's her face? Chris and Billy Nolan are under the thing with the rope. And it's like, why are they bickering under there, pulling the rope? They could have knocked over the blood like way too early. The whole time they're so excited. No, I'm going to pull it. No, I'm going to pull it. And it's way too long of them holding the little bucket string, waiting to pull the bucket string in and toss the blood everywhere.
When that slowed down, I hated that it slowed down, because I'm just like, you're making this 3 minutes, and in 3 minutes, so much could have happened. But you were like, it's the 70s. This is an effect. And I was like, okay, whatever. Because I'm like, Sue, you see it. Sue, you're pointing. This person's pushing you out. You could be like, look, that is Chris. And this old guy with a rope. Should you investigate that?
Her dad.
Yeah.
Her dad. Shut up. I love that. But you're right. She could have said this instead of just pointing. It could have been like, look under the stage. Even that. Look under the stage.
Chris.
Right? It's not
She's
Sharai.
not supposed to be here either. She could have just been ratting out her friend and say, she's here too. And I'm not supposed to, we're both not supposed to be here. Anything. That scene was so long and so slow mode that it was frustrating. I don't remember it being that frustrating before, but maybe it's because I'm older and wiser. I'm totally wiser. That I was like, that's enough of that. Just hurry up. So they win, and they're up on the stage, and I love that her hair gets all recurled. Like her hair is all bouncy and curled up on the stage. And I'm like, I love it when they used to do that in movies. Like we wouldn't notice that all of a sudden her hair is redone and her makeup is all brighter and everything. And they're just clapping forever. And I wondered, is that all in her imagination too? The clapping, that because it goes on so long. A little,
and it could have been. It could have been a little bit. Yeah.
I wonder if the clapping is in her head, and I wonder if the laughter is in her head. But because before the laughter happens, some of the people are like, oh, and of course the red hat and her group are like, ha ha ha. But a lot of people are like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And so I think that she's like, I'm having a moment. Yay, people like me. Oh my God, is this blood? Oh my God, they are gonna laugh at me. I'm gonna set it all on fire. Yeah,
exactly. So like you said, it could have just been the red hat chick and maybe her friends laughing, but then in that state, everybody's laughing at her. So, okay, so now we're going to get to the killing. Okay, Sharai, what's your favorite kill here?
Oh my God, so many people were thrown. So many people were actually, I would say Red Hat is the winner because she's earned that. If Chris couldn't be in the gymnasium, Red Hat is my next person I want to see dead. So yeah.
I love that she's tossing herself around. But at this point, I always kind of laugh because why were so many of the dudes like all of a sudden parkouring to try to get out of the gym? Like they're leaping as high as they can to jump on top of the bleachers and everything. But my favorite is Miss Collins, the way she gets killed, even though that was awful because I liked Miss Collins. But the way that thing comes up, slams down on her right in her midsection. I was like, up to that point, she's there, and I'm like, she could have lived, right? Like she's good. Like they did CPR. CPR, and she got a blood transfusion.
And then she got dragged out, like, when the doors were finally left open, she got dragged out and everything's good. But
she got it so good, but I think it's because Carrie felt so betrayed because she convinced her, that this was a good idea.
It's all this internalized shit. Yeah.
Have a good time. And so that kill was probably the best one. But at the same time, it was like, oh, I felt bad. I wish that she'd still,
I have another question for Sharai about this. Okay, so Tommy dies. We know this. In the book, he dies of blood loss, I think it was. I guess I guess we're supposed to assume that when he falls to the ground, he dies as well. Do you think that the death, the carnage and all that would have been as bad if he hadn't died? So that obviously she sees this one person who's been nice to her die. If he hadn't died, maybe just a few people she would have killed her. Do you think it still would have been as bad?
I like to think because she's hearing the clapping and she's hearing the laughter that may or not be there, this was going to go down. And she would have just assumed Tommy is part of it and he would have had a vicious death because she would have been like, I trusted you. So therefore you take this microphone to the neck or something. Because she's having a moment and it's a rightful moment. And unfortunately some people, I guess, maybe don't deserve it. I don't know. I think we all do.
You're like, maybe.
Right? I am a Gemini and they crossed her one too many times. So like I'm fine with what she did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
We all had that day of being fed up. We all had that day of just being fed up.
Absolutely.
And she's the wrong person to make feel that way.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But I always kind of wonder about that too. Like, would it have been as bad? But I'm here for it. Like, just let her do her thing. So, but my favorite kill, John Travolta and what's her name?
Oh, I thought you said in the gym. Didn't she say in the gym?
No, I did. But I'm jumping ahead now because now everybody's dead in there. We're good. She's going home because she's going home, and that's really
opens
sad.
the doors for herself, and I love the way she walks out, just like just regular mode. I'm just walking home.
Yeah,
taking a bath. It was a mood.
So, and then the nerve of them to still want to go after her. Like, what the fuck? Just let her go home. It's done. So yeah, 100%. You know what I'm thinking though? That would have sucked though if they hadn't come after her, because then they wouldn't have died because they wouldn't have been in her vicinity for her to kill them. So yeah.
Chris's big Karen energy is what led to her demise because she escaped. She escaped, but she's like,
yeah,
I'm
she
not
was
done.
scot free. Nobody knew it was her. She was gone, and then she still has the drive, the freaking motivation, the fucking rage, and aims that vehicle for her. Aiming for her, just so angry and pissed at her, wanting her dead so bad that she's going to do it herself. Like she was going to kill her.
Yeah.
And then the way that Carrie looks at her to get her to swerve the car, I love that because she like hunches down to like,
yeah. And I like that they saw her as they were like going to meet their maker because I like it when the person that's dying, that's getting it, knows why it's happening and who it is.
They have to know it's you. They saw you. You're the last face they saw. Yes. Now you're dead. You suck.
No.
So she walks her ass home all, gets in her tub, which there wasn't enough soap or
oh no, but that tub scene is sad.
Water. It is sad. But the whole time I'm like, that's not enough water. That's one bar of soap. That wasn't going to get that out. And she's sitting there, her pink water, and she's just washing herself. Did you notice the mom hiding behind the door when she came home with all the candles? How did she not see her mom all creepy back there? That was so creepy. She's just like,
she's just in that mindset. She wants to wash off all this evil and all this bad that she's done, because in the end, she's still, when she's able to wash that off, you still see Carrie, the sweet young girl there, and she's clean. She goes to her mom. She still goes to her fucking mom after all this, and that's why that ending is just the saddest thing for me, because the second she gets in that tub, you see that little girl again, and then she goes to her mom just looking for her, and then it's horrifying.
Like her biggest downfall was the fact that she still treated her mother with love and respect because she's a good kid. And she's like, this is my mother. We're gonna work it out somehow, some way. And it's like, you're not. And letting her roam the house freely is what did her in. When she stabs Carrie, I am just like, I hope you die a horrible death. And
I can feel it. I can feel it every time anybody gets like stabbed in the back. It's just, for some reason, I feel like I'm feeling it too. And then she falls down the stairs, and I'm just like, oh, I could feel that so much. And she still cares about her mom to the very end.
She drags her into the closet.
Yeah, she's like, "You're coming with me, Mom. We're gonna."
I can't take it. That's right now. I'm together. Cry. We're gonna have to end this one soon because I'm crying. That ending is just so heartbreaking. She takes her mom into the fucking closet. I'm like, that's it. I'm dead. I am dead because this is just too much. So, okay. Having said that, I could have done without the ending with Sue and the dream. I don't know. I just thought it was. But maybe it's very 70s too. So like the Friday the 13th and stuff like that. They have to have one last little thing. It's like, but I could have done without that ending.
I didn't like it. I think they were trying to shoehorn in what they didn't give Sue, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Also, I caught this time that the mom was talking to a friend on the phone, and she's like, "Oh yeah, the doctor said she's young enough, so she'll forget all about it." So I'm like, "No, she won't."
I fucking remember that. That's so stupid. That's
I remember all the shit that I did. What is she talking about? She's so young. She was so drawn. Like that was
like
really weird.
She's so young, she'll forget that her whole class was burned to death.
Electrocuted and cut in half and blown up in fiery car explosions. Yeah, and 2 years. Give her 2 years. She's not going to remember any of it. She's going to be fine at college.
Get her a ukulele and keep her distracted. It'll be fine.
But I agree with you. I think that's why they did that, was because they were trying to get that Sue story in that they weren't able to get from the book, because it was like all the movies had it at the time. That little dream sequence is like, is it over?
Yeah.
And I really hate it because it makes it like this dream, it bends it so like Carrie is like this monster who reaches for her from the grave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's no. Just let her rest in peace.
Yes,
in peace.
Maybe that was just like her own guilt. Like she should have gone too, because it was her fault that she went to the prom. with
so
her.
I just wanted to share this real quick because Alma had read it earlier, but this is what Bianca said. And yes, I do think that for it is a rite of passage. So if you haven't seen this movie, watch it. And if you haven't read the book, read it. Audiobooks, you don't have to read it. Just grab that audiobooks because that's what I'm into right now because I do a lot of driving. So it's podcasts and audiobooks for me because it's just, or like when Alma cleans, she says that she has something going on in her headphones. So read it if you get a chance. Very good. I recommend it. Alma, you?
Oh, what?
Do you recommend it?
I'm like, what was I supposed to say? Of course I recommend it. I love it. You were saying something about cleaning. I was listening to Sharai on, I was listening to your podcast today because while I clean, I always have a podcast on. So I was listening to your Night of the Living Dead. And so that was just the one that I just happened to be listening to today. You know, I pick one. So you all can listen to this one next time you're cleaning or driving. But I love rewatching something. If it's been a while, rewatch it. It's just, it's always fun to see the different thing you might miss, you know.
Yeah.
And Sharai, this version, do you like this version better than the others? How do you feel about this version versus the other ones?
This is the only version I recommend watching. The only one. I've seen some of the remakes. There was also a sequel, and so I don't actually remember what I've seen, but I think that this one nails it, and it handles the situation in a way that like a lot of people just aren't doing. They keep cutting more things, which is not how you handle a Stephen King. For all of Uncle Stephen's problems, you have to be able to give him a dedicated 2-3 hours. Because this movie's really great, but like Sue is left because like again, it's a Stephen King, and so someone's got to go, and so she gets nothing. I think that this is one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations. And I've seen a lot of them, but like he's hard to capture and film because he does a lot of things
cut
in those
a
90
lot.
Pages.
And they cut a lot of the like the favorite horror parts of it all the time. Dahlia and I were always just like, we first saw like the It miniseries. It was like, but there was so many great, really horrific parts in the book. That's what I wanted to see.
Yes. That is another one that hurts me when it was the original miniseries and the part 2 of the new It remake. Because it's, again, Uncle Stephen has a lot of faults, but like we go back to him because he can like spin a yarn. And when you take giant chunks of it away, you lessen it because again, I saw this movie before I read the book as a kid. And so when I was reading the book, I was like, oh, it's all told through the eyes of everybody else. That is cooler because people always have something to say about other people's business, especially when they don't actually do anything to help them. And so I thought that was intriguing and it was better than like sort of this narrative that we have. But again, one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations and highly recommend. Yeah.
Yay. Well, thank you, Alma, for choosing this movie for your birthday. All right. So we're going to go to our second movie, our last movie, and that is The Thing. I'm going to go ahead and share the trailer for that.
All right.
This is U.S. Station 31. You read me? Found something in the ice. We need some help down here. Can anybody hear me? We found something. We found something. We found something.
12 men have just discovered something. For 100,000 years, it was buried in the snow and ice. Now it has found a place to live. Inside. Where no one can see it, or hear it, or feel it.
I know I'm human. Some of you are still human. This thing doesn't want to show itself. It wants to hide inside an imitation. It'll fight if it has to, but it's vulnerable out in the open. If it takes us over, then it has no more enemies. Nobody left to kill it. And then it's won.
You guys gonna listen to Gary? We can beat one of those things!
I love that. Man is the warmest place to hide.
That's a cool tagline. Maybe they stole that a little bit from Star Wars too. You know, when they cut the thing open and they crawl inside to stay warm.
Oh, so this was a fun movie. It's been a while since I watched this one. I'm like, I forgot how fun this is. The practical effects. Oh my God! I was like, oh, they just had so much fun with it.
This is obviously one of my favorite movies. We watch it a lot. Also, there's like a little intersection between my husband's love of sci-fi and my love of horror. So we always try to find like that medium ground. Like he'll recommend a movie, and it's like, what's it got for me? You know, this one is perfect for both of that. Okay, this is. The practical effects are what makes this movie. It was like cutting edge. It was like the first time I saw it, I was like, you know, it's horrific at points. It's like, what the hell did they make that out of? And what is that? You know? Yeah, it's just one of my favorites. Love it.
It was the first time as a kid I was like, maybe directors do stuff, because I love Halloween, and I saw this like, who's this John Carpenter? What is a director?
Oh,
so yeah.
So Alma, can you go ahead and introduce this movie for us?
All right. The Thing from 1982 is directed by John Carpenter, written by Bill Lancaster, and based on the John Campbell Jr. story, Who Goes There? This is supposed to be like a sequel to The Thing from Another World from 1951. It stars Kurt Russell, Keith David, Wilford Brimley, Richard Dysart, T.K. Carter, Charles Hallahan, David Clennon, Peter Maloney, Richard Masser, Donald Moffat, Joe Polis, and Thomas Waits. It's got a big cast because all of them die. And I love, usually when I give the cast, I like to mention anybody who's going to die. So if you keep naming names, it's because if you get killed, you deserve to have your name written up. And see, look, we have another comment because Bianca also only saw The Thing for the first time earlier this year. And that's how good this movie holds up. I think, you know, I know I'm totally biased because, but you know, if you're seeing this for the first time and it's still like, whoa, then you know that's a good movie, you know?
Yeah. No, it's amazing. I hadn't seen it in forever, and I watched it twice because when you rent something, you get 48 hours, and I was like, I need to see it 2 more times.
I watched it twice this week too.
Yeah, it's so good. Like it's probably my favorite thing I watched all week.
Well, the mood is set really well, and that's what I love about. I'm not saying that newer movies can't do this, but older movies had to set the mood. There wasn't that CGI or other stuff, so they had to do it somehow. Sometimes it was with the silence, and sometimes it's with the really creepy music. And there aren't unnecessary jump scares. Like everything that makes you jump is for a reason. So I think the mood was set really well for this. The fact that it's in fucking Antarctica even adds another layer to it, because it's like it makes you uncomfortable, or at least I am. I'm very uncomfortable. I'm freezing. I'm watching what's going on. They are trapped. Every little thing. When fucking what's his name? Just everything that he does. What's his name? Yes, thank you. He's such a grimy character, and I love that too, because he helps also kind of like everything just made me uncomfortable in this movie, and I love it. I love it when I feel like that.
Same. Like the being in Antarctica when you can't see in front of your own face, so they have the rope pulling them around.
Oh, yeah.
It answers the question, why don't you just leave, which I always have for horror movies, because they're like, things are going wrong, let's stay here. I'm like, what? Why? Other than to give me this movie. And so it's like, if you can't see where you're going, you might want to stay and fight the alien a little bit.
Exactly.
This is also another setting where I would say this is not a horror movie situation that I would survive. I like to always think, would I survive this situation? First of all, it's too damn cold, and why is anybody going outside? And if you need that much clothes to like be warm, no. And also, if you can't trust anyone, like there was, who's going to keep me alive? Dahlia said she would keep me alive on an island. I don't know if she'd keep me alive out in Antarctica with alien shit that's taking over and making it look like you. Like, I think she would just ditch me. So therefore, I will just lay in the snow and freeze to death on day one of shit hitting the fan. Okay.
Do you like the cold, Sharai? Sorry.
I like the cold more than the heat, but also I don't like being outdoors in anything. Okay. So the second we have to go outside, I'm just like, oh, maybe we should fight this alien. What?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I can live in the cold. I've done it, but am I comfortable there?
You lived in Alaska.
I know, that's what I said. No. I can live in it, but it doesn't mean that, I don't know.
My theory is I can always put on more layers, but I can only take off so much.
Yes. Thank you. That is correct. That is 100%. Because I've even had like my heat go out when it's super cold, because you could just in the blankets and in jackets, but when it's hot and you have no AC or fan, fuck it. Just take me now, Lord. Just take me now. It's like, no, can't deal with it.
No, the first time I do one of these, I come away with a handful of sweat. I'm over the summer.
That's here. The AC turns off for a second, and I'm like, okay, that's it. I am dying. I'm so dramatic. I'm just like, I had a fan going in the back and the AC going. I don't want to sweat. It's not my thing. I don't like it.
It's disgusting. Like, my roommate is always like, are you going outside today? I'm like, no. Like,
I don't need to, so
that's not my ministry in this heat. Like, I will stay with the air conditioning and the cat. Like,
oh, with the cat, of course. Well, there, you have to take care of the cat. Yeah, cat needs a buddy.
Responsibilities. You're a mom. You have to take care of the kitty.
I have to show her the scary movies, and she loved this one. Like, she likes violence, so once things start popping off, she's like, "Ooh, are we in a man's?
What is this?"
Cats do that. Yeah, my dogs don't. But I've noticed that cats will pay attention to the screen. Is it because they like the moving shit, or
she likes loud noises and gore, and it concerns us a little bit. She also really loved when all the other dogs got it. She was like, "Oh, I don't like dogs." And I was like, "Louise."
Oh, her name's Louise.
Yes,
I love that. That's adorable.
Yeah,
I've got 3 cats. I got 3. 2 of them are right here, Kodak and Nacho, and they pretty much don't move ever. That's why they're here with me, because they don't do anything. Gato is roaming the house right now, just meowing all day. Meow, 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 meow. That's all he does is eat.
So cute.
Louise only gets vocal around food time, but she will tell you when she wants food, even if it's not the right time, and then she will make you know that she wants the food now.
Yeah.
You give it to her.
He wants to eat all day long.
Like dogs. Dogs always want to eat. But
so we don't have to go to Does the Dog Die for this movie, which Dahlia's favorite website to go see. Yeah, they die. They all die. Yeah. So that's one of the movie tropes that we brought up before, that is like, that needs to go. They were always picking on the dogs. Why? What was it about picking on the dogs in these movies that they always had to do?
But in this movie, it makes sense, I think, because in the beginning,
it does go with the plot.
The guy chasing, we see the helicopter chasing and shooting at the dog. And I know in the beginning, because I forgot. I tell you, I forget from movie, each time I watch. And I'm so pissed off. I'm like, quit shooting at the fucking. This dog, though, in real life was having a ball. I mean, that dog was so excited, running out there and all that. It was so adorable. But, we find out later, it seems like he was trying to kill it because it was an alien or whatever.
Yes. Okay.
I love that. I fucking love that.
Okay, so it starts off. I'll go ahead and read how it begins. In Antarctica, a Norwegian helicopter pursues a sled dog to an American research station. The Americans witness the Norwegian passenger accidentally blow up the helicopter and himself, which was hysterical. The Norwegian pilot fires a rifle and shouts at the Americans, but they don't understand him, and he's shot dead in self-defense by the commander, Gary. The American helicopter pilot, who's McReady, and Dr. Copper leave to investigate the Norwegian base. Okay, so that's how it opens up, the chase scene with the doggo. And it's such a pretty dog. I heard they used like 2 dogs. Like they painted one to look like the good actor dog because they had a very good actor dog. Like he was such a good boy that he did his scenes really nice. Like he didn't look directly at the camera and he was walking around the people and did everything like on cue. So the chase scene in the beginning is done with a stunt double dog that they painted to look like the good dog actor.
A stunt double dog is the most adorable thing in the world. What the hell? Ah, that is so adorable. I never heard of such a thing.
I want to see more stunt double dogs.
Exactly. Okay, Sharai. So what are you thinking as you see this opening scene unfold? Were you like me shouting at the guy, like, stop?
As a kid, I already had trust issues. So I was like, what did this dog do? What is wrong with this dog? Because this was a lot to like hop in a helicopter and like fly it while shooting at a dog. Like this dog is guilty of something. And I didn't know what it was.
That's funny. No, because I'm like, poor dog. And even when I was younger, I mean, I was not a dog person, but I was like, like I said, the dog in real life looked like they were just having a grand old time. It's like, I'm going to go over here and then I'm going to go over there. And I'm like, that's so adorable. But I'm also thinking like, this dude's a horrible shot if he can't get that dog.
How long was he shooting? It was like the whole intro, it was real time. It was real time. And he's just shooting all over and missing. I mean, they have the guns probably for self-defense. He was never going to live any situation with that much terrible of a shot. My cat just jumped up here.
Oh, which one?
Kodak. You can't see him. He's like right here.
Okay. I want to see Kodak.
Hi, Kodak.
But so and also I thought to myself when I saw the dog running and they kept shooting, it was noticeable that they were shooting at the dog. Why didn't the Americans on their side notice that that they were shooting at the dog? Like there's a reason.
Mm-hmm.
America's always in the wrong. Instead of them being like, what's up with this dog? They were like, this man must have lost his mind because he's been out here for 2 weeks in the snow. I'm like, or this dog who's into your house has a problem.
Oh yeah. That's funny because they were just standing back like, what's going on over here? It's just like
no, they're like, let's bring this dog in. Let's
well, even when he gets shot in the leg, it's just like the way it starts going, it's just like it's very strange. So yeah, when they come in and it was McReady that got shot. McReady.
Oh no, he's not the one who gets shot. It's another guy.
Okay. Well, when they showed that scene of him getting the stitches, I don't know why. I really liked that. I love seeing because it actually looked well done, and I don't like when it looks so fake in movies. So I like that.
Most of that kind of stuff was really done well in this movie, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all practical, so it makes it even better because now it's like CGI and it looks real bad the second you do it. Like I think the only thing that happened in the operating room that I was like, oh yeah, that's real bad, was when the stomach opens and it's teeth.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we couldn't do everything right. It's fine.
Yeah. But even the weird, funny looking stuff I thought was, well, like I said, funny. I love when it really looks horribly fake. There was a scene, I can't remember, that was just so comical. And I have the little tiny human walk by in the room and she looks at the screen and she's like, she starts laughing. So if a little tiny human starts laughing, it's like, it's pretty bad. But yeah, anyways. So, okay. So Alma, where are we now in the movie?
Okay, so Dr. Copper leave to investigate the Norwegian base. Among the charred ruins and frozen corpses, they find the burned remains of a malformed humanoid, which they recover to take back to the American station. They always got to take shit back. Their biologist, Blair, performs autopsies on the remains and finds a normal set of human organs. Okay, so it's like, why do they always have to take stuff back? It's like in Aliens. It's like, why just that's all I have to say. Just stop somewhere.
If you just leave it, leave it. Yeah, because I would have been like, this man wanted to shoot this dog, therefore this dog don't need to be here. But they're like, come in with the other dogs and see what happens.
I know all of it. Oh my God. And you're like you said, the autopsy's there, and also the way he was doing it. I know it's just a movie, but like, dude, like, blood here, and then like it was just like no face shield or anything. It's like
he ran at it with like meal prep gloves, is what me and Quincy were saying. Like he's working at McDonald's and not doing autopsy.
It's like it was so bad, and he is a doctor, so he should know better. Even in the 70s, you should know better. It was horrible.
Especially because the body or whatever they bring back is still smoking. I don't know if you call it body at that point. It's still smoking. And he's like, latex gloves.
And he doesn't know what happened to it. Exactly. You are correct. He doesn't know. It could have been acid. It could have been some other biological thing. And, you know, he's all like, face in there and everything. It's like, so weird. But I did, even though that part, but I did appreciate how they went for it. They did the organs and all that. And like they're gonna do it. They're gonna have fun with all this gore.
Was anybody else as stressed out about McCready's cowboy hat? Because everybody else.
Thank you. Oh my god!
It's like, what is that?
I'm like, is that a sombrero? What the fuck is that?
Why? I did need a backstory. And I know they had a backstory for him but they cut all that, you know, out because you know, time and everything like that. And I wonder if we're missing the hat story. Like
I thought it was just
me.
Thank you, Sharai, for bringing that up because
I was like, what happened? Because everybody else has like normal winter gear, and he's like, I got a cowboy hat, and I was like, this is a bet with John Carpenter. Like, what is happening?
I wonder. I'd have to look it up. If like sometimes like other things they've been in recently, the actors kind of leaks into a movie. I've seen that with other things. I wonder if maybe that was a little bit of that.
Well, the guy they call Windows, he's wearing like those shaded glasses the whole time.
That's why they call him Windows?
That's why they call it Windows. So like he had a thing too, because they all were supposed to have a little backstory to them.
Okay.
So that has something to do with it. But at no time did I ever think that McReady was dressed warmly enough for the climate. Didn't he look less like protected?
No,
he just jumpsuit. That's it.
He's like, I'm Kurt Russell. I don't get cold.
Exactly, right? Yeah, he was not dressed for the weather ever.
But he did look cold.
He was not. He was not McReady. I'm just telling you right now. He was not.
He was unready.
He looked the coldest out of them at any point. I was like, I don't think that they had to use makeup because he looked frozen. His face looked cold. His lips, every part of him looked so like just like he was actually out in the cold and freezing. And the beard, it said it took him a year to grow his beard. Didn't do his face any like protection. Yeah, it was like he grew his beard for a year for the I don't know, for the movie or if he just
him and John Carpenter were doing lots of movies right in there where he sort of had the same look because he escaped from LA or New York. I don't remember which was back then.
Yeah, which one was first? I can't remember.
And I don't remember anybody being like, that's the last one. Like, I don't know. I was 5. These were all already.
Remember the order.
That same look.
Yeah, he was always like there. Because when I was a kid, I was like, is this Snake Plissken in Alaska? And it's like, oh no, he's somebody else. This is fun.
Yeah. Oh my God. But yeah, it bothers me. Again, I know they're just movies, but it does bother me when they don't look appropriately dressed for the scenery. It's like, okay, or they're all mismatching, you know, somehow. Like one looks like they're dressed for summer and one in winter or something like that.
His first scene is when like the helicopter's happening and he opens his door in like his PJs with his bottle of alcohol. And I'm like, do you not know where you are, good sir? You would have frostbite everywhere. And I need you to put on some layers when you open your door.
Now he was the helicopter pilot, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that his role? Okay. So he's the one that, did they walk or did they take the helicopter to the Norwegian?
They took the helicopter.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. I'm trying to remember all that. Okay, so all right, so they come back and we see the cute little doggy that Sheray's very suspicious of. She's like, there's something up with that doggy. It's going all around. And I just thought that dog was adorable. Like you said, Alma, the little cute actor dog was always curious. On cue. Yes, very curious. So, okay, so they end up putting it in with the other dogs, and when it goes into that little thing with the other dogs, and it's it goes like this, and it's just staring out. I forgot, but I thought it was looking because out that way because it knew something was coming. So I was thinking like, oh, it's so smart. It's looking to see what's coming, but no, it wasn't looking to see what was coming.
I had been watching that dog the whole time because, again, I was like, something's wrong with that dog. And so, like, in all of its scenes, it's just like under things, not doing dog stuff, or staring at people, not doing dog stuff.
It's watching people.
Yeah, he's watching it because he's about to imitate them all. And so when he's like, come on, let's put you in the kennel. And the dog's like, what's a kennel? And he walks with him.
But he whispered it so no one heard him.
Yeah, he's like, what's a kennel?
I never thought of it that way, that he was looking to imitate. I thought he was just being protective. Well, but anyways, I thought there was still some not humanity. It's a dog, Dahlia. It doesn't have humanity. The dog still had humanity. But yeah, I didn't even think of it like that he's looking so that he can mimic them well. Thank you, Sharai. I had never thought of that. So, but yeah. So, okay. So then it turns and it does that whole thing and the poor other doggies. And so it's kind of funny because anytime there's dogs making a lot of noise in movies or any animals really, and they actually use real animal noises for that animal. Because I hate it when it's like a puma or something and it's like a fucking rat or something like that. But this is like dog sounds, and my dogs always will act up. It's just like they'll be like, what's going on? Where's that coming from? Start barking at nothing. It's like, it's a fucking TV, loser. Sit down. They always freak out. And like, how am I supposed to have faith in these dogs that when something actually does come, they're going to protect me if they're going to be like, with the TV. But anyways, my dogs.
I get worried. I get worried for the dogs in the movie because I'm like, how did they make them act like that and get like were they running like a metal cup along the bars of the kennel back and forth like an old movie jail time? Because what is making the dogs upset, and that always makes me feel a little bad that they scared the dogs into barking like that.
I always want to talk to like dog trainers or animal trainers in general, because like the ones who do it right anyways, because there are the other ones who should not be handling animals, especially back then. But the ones who do it right, like they clearly understand how smart these animals are, because people always underestimate other creatures. But animals are smart. Like my niece Louise knows how to get her treats. She knows how to open doors. I call her the warden because like if she wants in, she's getting in. And so like if you can like harness that and be like, if you can do that on cue, we can all have a very nice house.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. No, my dog's never.
So yeah, they were just telling them, okay, you guys, you're gonna get all of the begging treats.
Yes.
Bark now, and then they start barking.
Yeah.
But it was like, I hope they didn't have anywhere near that dog beast as it's starting to transform.
Did they get
that was so messed up looking and gnarly and just like just
the little tentacle things and strings.
What did they make for the juice that's like pouring out of them, and the like marshmallowy goo?
I read somewhere, and it might have been Wikipedia, so I don't want to like take it as the gospel, but I read somewhere that they gave him $1.5 million for these creature effects. And it was mostly like food and crap. It was like
that's believable, because food does get gross and you mix it up and and just cooking stuff and but I know it's like all of the juices that are constantly flowing off of that, like when it's changing, it's really like
Yeah.
But food is also, it's okay. Like if some gets in your mouth, it's not like, it's not gonna poison you or make you sick or anything. Well, except for, remember milk in the Alien?
Yes. Aliens. in Aliens, because
it's rotten milk.
So gross. Okay. All right. So go ahead, Alma.
So the disturbance alerts the team, and Childs uses a flamethrower to incinerate the creature. Blair autopsies the new creature and learns that it can perfectly imitate other organisms. Recovered Norwegian data leads the Americans to a large excavation site containing a partially buried alien spacecraft and a smaller human-sized dig site. Norris estimates that the alien ship has been buried for at least 100,000 years. I love how he looks at it as like, approximately 100,000
I know,
years.
right?
Carbon dating. Blair grows paranoid that the creature could assimilate all life on Earth in a matter of years. Okay, so that's when they fly again, because it shows him like they're like, he's gonna be a pilot, so he's gonna fly a lot. They're like, let's get him back in the helicopter with his hat, and they go over there to go look at the giant spacecraft under the. I remember in the beginning of the movie they had the shot of the spacecraft landing on Earth, but it doesn't say how long ago that happened.
Yeah,
and I saw a question that asked, do you think that the alien organism used somebody else's spacecraft to get there, or that it was their spacecraft that landed there on Earth? And so I was like, that's a good question. I'm like, did they assimilate another life form that was smart enough with that technology, and that's how it ended up on Earth, or was it their technology that brought them to Earth?
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Yeah, it's like, because you really don't know, because it could be anything, and he's already figuring out from his microscopy sitting there that it could be anything, and then right away gets so paranoid that this can be anything. But I also want to know, how long does it decide that it's going to be this organism before it tries to become another organism? Because it was a dog. That was a perfect camouflage. Why not be a dog for a while?
Well, it couldn't, because I don't think it could, because it didn't want to be in that thing. It needed to be out. It needed to be outside the cage or whatever, the enclosement, wherever it was. So it needed to get out. That's why I think it made itself known. At least that's what I think, because maybe it's there. Like it wasn't the best. Yeah. So he needs to get out of there. So, let's make myself known, and then I'm going to jump into something else so that I can have, because I think one of the characters says something about like they have all this space, that the alien has all this space, so it can be, so that's what it wanted. It wanted all of that space. So it wanted to be out. And when it got trapped in that little cage with the other dogs, it's like, this isn't good for me. I need another host. I don't know. That's what I thought.
Plus, the other dogs were not having it, because, like, even if it was going to lay in wait, the other dogs were like, you're not a dog. And they started losing it. And so he's like, my cover's blown, and I'm ready for an upgrade anyways. I'm going to do these things on 2 legs that have food and speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can be the one getting the food. Yeah. Okay, so the station implements controls to reduce the risk of assimilation. The malformed humanoid creature assimilates an isolated Bennings. He's the first one. Okay, but Windows interrupts the process, and McReady burns the Bennings thing. Meanwhile, Blair is sabotaging all the vehicles, kills the remaining sled dogs, and destroys the radio to prevent escape. Bennings, remember him? He's the first one that he's changed. So right when Windows, the guy with the glasses, walks in on him, and he's being wrapped up in like the tentacle things and everything, the sound that he makes when he's trying to run away, and he's not changed all the way, and he's sitting in the snow, and his hands are still like tentacles and everything, and he makes that noise when he opens his mouth. Really scared the crap out of me. It's still like chilling, like, goose pimples and everything, the way he opens his mouth, and I wish I could make that noise. Why don't you have that sound effect? That way when we open our mouths, we could just go
I'll remember for our next recording to have those queued up for you. But yeah, I thought it was well done as well. The effects there, and I think it's not just the effects too, because he did a really good job of being able to pull it off too, because it could have been comical, but it wasn't. He looked tortured.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
This cast is stacked. It's a bunch of dudes, which is usually not my aesthetic, but it works for this story, and it works for this world, and I think it works for the bleakness and the mood, because it was a dark movie. Like, it's why I liked it as a kid, because I'm like, this is not E.T. This alien's not our friend. This is not going to end well for a lot of people, if anybody.
Oh yeah.
And I think committing to that and just getting that assignment down was like crucial, because if one person's like, but we can find humor in this, it would not have worked.
No, not at all.
The humor is in McReady's hat, and that's where we can leave it.
That was pretty much it. I felt like I was missing something for real. Every time I see the hat, I'm just like, am I missing something? Was it cool? Was it like his signature thing in real life? Was he walking around with that? And then everybody would be like, oh, the hat guy. What the hell is that? Okay.
So I love that the blowtorch is a character all of its, itself, because I fucking love blowtorches, and they used it in this movie a lot, which makes sense, first of all, for the way they need to get rid of, the aliens when it's doing everything, but also just because it's fun to look at. It's just like, let's do this.
No, it's harder to miss a dog with a blowtorch. If the helicopter guy had a blowtorch, it would have been a different story.
Yeah, maybe he wouldn't have been all clumsy tossing the grenade, because I was like, right in the beginning, he goes to throw and drops it. I'm like,
jeez. Dude, that way.
Accidentally blows up the helicopter. It was like there was somebody on the helicopter. That guy died, and the other one got away. It was so sad.
So yeah, that was fun watching everything get burned up, and they were always on the ready with the fucking extinguishers.
Yeah, that was so smart. It was like, okay, they had already practiced this procedure, like they did drills. Okay, when we have to use a blowtorch, you be on standby with the fire extinguisher, and let's go. I've never had to use one, so I wouldn't even know how to use one. I wish.
I had to get trained on them when I worked at an opera house for the summer, because we had to get trained in everything. So like CPR, fire extinguishers. Yeah. I don't remember any of it. I remember CPR was staying alive. That was the beat. So you have like
sort of staying alive. Yeah. Staying alive.
Right. And I was like, the Bee Gees are saving lives. It's amazing. But the fire extinguisher, I would be lost on, because it's been so many years.
Yeah. I got recently certified on it, but yeah, in the thick of things, when I'm under pressure, I don't know if I could do it. I mean, because it was all like, it was very controlled fire, and then you had your buddy with their hand, and you're like, but like if it was a real thing, I'd be like, oh my God, throw it. That's gonna work.
They made it a point to like wait. When he did it, he was like, no, let it burn, let it burn. They're like, we need, they're waiting for his cue to say, let's put out this fire. And I thought that was really smart to put that in there instead of just, and then here comes the extinguisher. It was like, it made sense.
No. Like, you need to make sure it fries a little bit.
Exactly.
Okay, so Blair is losing his mind, sabotaging everything, and the team imprisons him in a tool shed. Copper, that's the doctor, suggests a test to compare each member's blood against uncontaminated blood held in storage. But after learning that the blood stores have been destroyed, the men lose faith in Gary. He's the station commander, and McReady takes command. I like the way he just takes command. It's just like, they didn't want him to take command, but he just, I'm going to do it.
And it scared me when he did.
To be fair, it had to be him or Keith David, because I'm like, I know these two adults. One of them is going to take charge. And it's an older movie, so it's going to be Kurt Russell. And so, like, I don't think it would have been as effective if some of the other ones, especially because they didn't have spines, some of those kids. They were not ready for this. Because they were holding the flamethrower and was like mesmerized by what was happening. I'm like, you gotta shoot first. We'll talk about it later.
Exactly.
Windows, the guy who first sees Bennings transforming, he's just like losing his shit constantly. Like, how is he even doing any job? Like, nope, he can't take any kind of pressure. That guy just looks like scared, like the whole movie, like confused and scared. And so
confused, like you said, he always looked confused.
And like he's the one who runs for like the guns at one point, and it's just like, does he have a plan? He's just going from one thing to the next. But McReady, he takes over, like we mentioned, Keith David. I anticipated he should be the one who would take charge, but you're right. It was like, they're not going to let him be in charge. And he's my favorite, because I always make a note of this, because people are always like, I've seen people bring this up in a lot of movies, like final guys. And when was the first time you saw a Black man be the final guy in a movie? Yes. And I always think of this movie, but most people don't think of this movie, because like the endings, people are like, are they both not transformed, by the end of the movie? But I always thought of him as the survivor of this movie, him and Kurt Russell. It's like, that's what I see at the end of the movie. They're both alive, you know?
I think they're both alive, and I think that they are both people, even though it'd be really easy to say Keith David's character.
Because he's the only one who leaves your...
He got lost in the storm, which is very suspect. But if he is, I mean, he really is the last survivor, and he's a black man. So I'm fine with that narrative, but I think that they're both human, and they're both going to just drink until they die, because it's inevitable.
That's what I see at the end of it, is like they're just going to freeze to death, like both together. That's what I believe. Well, there's another cat.
And I love that line of, it doesn't really matter if we have any surprises for each other, because like literally the rescue team's not coming.
Oh yeah.
Gonna freeze, alien or no.
So, yeah. That was really sad to note, because in the beginning of the movie, they said, this is the first week of winter. I was like, it's only the first week? And this is only a few days? They screwed themselves right away, because it was like, and then Windows is sitting on the radio. He's the radio operator. He's like, I haven't been able to reach anybody for 2 weeks.
I know. So that was the other thing too. They're physically secluded and isolated, and then also like help. It's like they won't be able to talk to anybody and all that. And that's just like, that's just perfect. They did, like I said, with the mood, they made sure they covered all the bases on this one. It was so good. I loved it.
Bleak,
but
just bleak.
Yes, bleak. Perfect. Yes.
Do we think this creature cleared out the base before heading over to the other neighbors and then here?
Like completely?
Yeah, like maybe this is its third stop.
I hadn't thought of that.
Because he said he couldn't reach anybody in weeks. I'm like, that's weird.
You keep dropping these nuggets of gold, Sharai.
I never thought of that.
Oh my God. Yeah. Never thought of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because somebody would have known, like, there was time in between.
Yeah, so they can warn each other. Damn it, Sharai. You just made me see the light. That's true. Okay. I'm convinced. Yep. That's what happened. Yay. And they're the last ones. They're the last ones. That's it.
Okay, so it's McReady, Windows, and Knowles find Fuchs' burnt corpse and surmise he committed suicide to avoid assimilation. Windows returns to base while McReady and Knowles investigate McReady's shack. On their return, Knowles abandons McReady in a snowstorm, believing he has been assimilated after finding his torn clothes in the shack. The team debate whether to allow McReady inside, but he breaks in and holds the group at bay with dynamite. During the encounter, Norris appears to suffer a heart attack. And this is our favorite Jaws opening scene that's coming up. Okay, first of all, out in the snow. So they find McReady's torn up thing, which I love that Knowles is out there, and he's also who should have been another final guy in this. They don't even bother showing him getting killed, and that really pisses me off, because that's it. We just have to assume he gets killed.
I do appreciate is he wasn't the first to die, because this has two black men in it. So this kind of an assignment, especially during the time it's set in, I'm like, you would have two black people tops. I see that. I think that makes sense. It's realistic. But to have both of them hold on until the end, that never happened.
Unheard of.
In the final group. And I was like, I'm good, because he was smart here. I actually like the fact that he ditched McReady, because he's like, shit. We saw this thing torn up. McReady's probably one of them. He's like, I cut him loose. I would have cut him loose. I was just like,
I would have too, and I wouldn't have felt
bad. He was like, nope.
He did the right thing there.
He's a survivor, and that's what pisses me off about him not being seen killed or not surviving, because I was like, he was not only doing his job, but he had that he had that mentality to survive and help the other guys. He didn't let him back in either.
I love him so much. I love him so much, and I'm kind of happy we don't see him die, even though like he does deserve an ending. But again, it's one of the few horror movies where I don't watch a black person die. And so that's
true. Okay, I get you there, because I always felt like I deserved to see him have a closure. That's how I felt like I deserved to see And I'm also glad because most of the time, like when I'd see this years ago, I'm like, maybe he just froze to death or got lost or something, because they don't show him in that big gelatinous blob of mixed faces. You notice how they show some of the guys' faces in that, and he's not one of them, and I don't see him in there. So I'm like, maybe he just froze or fell. Maybe
I don't think
like how you want the person to live. He's out living in Antarctica right now, living off the land.
I think he had to be a quick kill because the thing was like, they've got dynamite. We gotta speed through this. Plus, to get back to Keith David, if he did get back to Keith David, he's like, I gotta kill a bunch of people right now and quickly. So at least it was a quick death.
Yeah, yeah. And so when everybody's tied up and we're going through that whole scene, that's another thing that just really set the tension for me, because it's like the one turns while they're still all tied up. I say turn like whatever, like he's a zombie. But yeah, and so that was horrifying to me. And then yeah, I remember when the last guy, because I'm bad with names, the last guy is sitting there and they find out he's okay, and he's just like, okay, y'all can untie me now, because they were taking their time untying them, and that just made me so anxious. It's like, y'all saw what happened the first time y'all did that, and they're still taking their sweet ass time after. I would have been over there, okay, you're good, cut it in the line and everything, and you're good. But oh my god, that added another layer of tension that I couldn't deal with. It's like, just fucking cut the rope, just do it.
That couch scene is the epitome of stress, because you know one of them is it. You know one of them is the thing, and you're like, who is it gonna be? And then when it happens and the rest of them are tied, they're like, give me the fucking tie.
It was a lot of tension, and it was just like, why are you torturing them even more? Taking your sweet ass time. Windows shouldn't have died, but he should have also been quicker with the flamethrower, because he was the backup flamethrower guy, and he's standing there the whole time. It's like, you see McReady's not able to deploy his flames, and you're standing there panicking and you're not helping, and then he gets taken, but you still know after that point that one of them tied up is him. That was the guy who stood up and started changing in front of him. And it's like, he takes him out with him, that instinct to survive, the alien thing's instinct to survive, is willing to do this in front of this whole room. But I also felt like that thing changes in front of them because they're tied up. He's like, half of them are tied up. These guys over here, I've got a good chance of still being able to get out of this situation. Yep. And I think only one that gets killed, not by the thing, of course, is was his name Clark. He was the dog handler. He's the one who snuck the scalpel, and then McReady shoots him in self-defense.
I thought he was it. I did, and so I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, he was just a person who was about to do something dumb. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when they showed him grab that scalpel, I thought that was his. What's that word I'm looking for? Like his instinct to try to survive. His I can't think of the word.
He was suspicious from the moment he met that dog, and they were also alone together.
Oh yeah.
And his interactions, even leading the dog to the thing, I'm like, are you already changed, sir?
Yeah.
But he just
loved the dogs. It was just he just loved the dogs. That was just it. Yeah. Okay. So when we're at the ending, they blow up everything, right? And we're talking about how they're both outside. What's going through your mind, Sharai? Are you like, how Alma says she would just lay back and die? What are you thinking here, Sharai? Are you gonna just lay there like they did, or are you gonna, I don't know, think there's hope? What's going on?
I mean, they've got nowhere to go. So I would definitely do what Childs and McReady did and just drink about it, because like you did what needed to be done, and that's all there is to it. You're not going to get rescued one way or the other. So you can do this comfortably, or you can do this crying. Those are the only options.
That's hard. It's really hard. Yeah, because you're right. I mean, it's like there's still that will, but at the same time, like you said, it's reality here. Now that I know everybody's been got by the alien, everybody's been got. And so, yeah, what else are they going to do? They can't. And yeah, I would like, I don't know. It's just like, just drink. Yeah, you could freeze to death out there, drink, and like, let the alcohol lull you to sleep, and bye-bye.
Well, because I've heard this a myth that the alcohol really isn't warming you up, and I call it a myth
not.
because
it isn't. Yeah.
Yeah, good, but I'm like, no, it is warming. It's warming them, and to me,
it's warming their soul is what it is. Because they're gonna be able to be all peaceful as she comes for them.
Oh, I love how exhausted they are. They both look, McGrady looks more exhausted. I always talk about this when you're like very pale, light-skinned, you look worse than other people do when they're in same situations. And he looks just like defeated and everything. But every time I watch the scene, I feel for them both. I want them both to live. I think they've both done everything they can. They were both, they were not trusting of each other, but rightly.
Yeah.
But they did the smart thing every chance they get. If I was Childs, I wouldn't have believed McGrady. And if I was McGrady, I wouldn't have believed Childs. And I would have just defended myself until the end, because everybody could have been the enemy. Like they bring up, don't share utensils or food during the movie because it can get your DNA that way or whatever, to try to assimilate. And so it's like, stay away from me, but at the end, they don't have anything to kill each other with, I guess, because they're done. So that's just like, let's sit together. But to me, they live till the end of the movie. So they're both the final guys. Like,
what's that, Sharai?
I didn't think about that. That gives his last line so many different meanings, because you're not supposed to share because you might catch it. It doesn't matter because they're both going to die. Yeah. So I was like, it doesn't matter if one of us is the alien because we're dead anyways. But it's like, it doesn't matter if you contaminate me because it's over.
Yeah. That ending is just, it's sad.
Enemy. Like, possibly.
And it's funny because I had told Alma before when we started, I was like, let's talk about Carrie first because that one's really depressing. But they both are. They both really are. I just think it was easier to detach from this one because I mean, when am I ever going to be in a science bubble in Antarctica? But so that's why I could detach a little bit easier. But the ending is very, very depressing as fuck. So great movie. Have you watched Sharai? Have you watched the new one?
I have not, because I wanted to rewatch this one first, and so now I can watch the remake. Because again, I hadn't seen this one in forever, but I remember as a child just being like, "Ooh."
It's so good. Yeah. It's definitely one of my favorites to watch. It's definitely one of my favorites that I'm able to watch with my husband. Well, this one, the remake, we did watch it. And it was a little confusing at first when I put it on because I thought it was supposed to be a remake. And then when I looked it up, it said it was like a remake sequel or prequel, remake prequel.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I haven't seen
what happens before, but it was a little confusing at first when I watched it because of the dog situation. So I won't give anything away of it, but I do think it was worth watching. I enjoyed it because we do like that sci-fi horror, the mixture. Yeah, Dalia's a big sci-fi fan, but this is where I find the overlap that you can enjoy both. But it did say it was like a prequel remake, which I didn't really
I did not know that. Interesting.
Because it's called The Thing. It's called The Thing.
Yeah.
Did either of you play the video game that was on, like, I don't know if it was PlayStation 2 or 3 anymore? It was so fun.
I don't play video games. I'm bad. Okay. I'm bad at video games, really bad.
Okay, that's fair.
Like I get frustrated within the first 2 minutes if I can't do what I want to do, and it's just like fuck it, this game sucks. I'm done. But I do try. I really do try. I'm just not good, and so I stop. I just stop. I like watching certain games so other people play them, depending on what the game is. So I had no idea this was a game. That's kind of fun, actually.
Look, the last time I watched this movie, I don't remember how old I was, but I watched it again so I could play the game and not have anything ruined because I might have forgotten something. I was always that kid. And so I watched the movie and I'm like, awesome. And I started playing my brother's video game. I never finished it though. And then I want to. I don't remember what system it's on and how hard it's going to be to find, but I want to finish it now that I'm an adult.
Yeah, do that. Let us know about it. I was gonna say, go on Twitch. Let us know when you're doing it, and we'll watch you play.
And we'll watch.
It'll be me dying and drinking a lot. I'll be like, oh shit! Oh no, it was him again.
That's how you play on there. That's the only way to do it. So
I used to have this thing about getting changed, and it was a fear of finding like video games
that you were.
My character would get changed into whatever it was. So in the game, do you get changed or assimilated by the alien thing?
Like I never made it that far because I.
That's cute.
I would hate that. I don't want to be that thing.
Yeah, but people would turn on me, and I was hoping that at the end of it, it would be like you were an alien all along, and I'd be like, oh my god, I love this game.
That would have been
awesome. To the end. I never made it to the end. I haven't finished business. I'm like.
That would be cool if you didn't know that.
Yeah, because that's one of the questions I always have for this movie is like leaving it up in the air. Do you know you're the thing if you are assimilated, if you've become the human? But then you see certain hints that you do have to know because they're actively trying to get away or hide amongst them and not draw suspicion on themselves. But whoever the thing was that destroyed the blood, he had to have known that he was gonna get found. So that's why he destroyed the evidence of what would prove that he was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was adorable how when he was testing their blood, the ones who were being ruled out were like, it's not me.
Yeah, like, that's why.
Yeah. And the one it was like, okay, we're gonna leave here now.
I know. But yeah, that whole scene, it's like you're right. Maybe so maybe there is part of them that knows or doesn't know. That is interesting. Which one is going to be the one that's acting out at that moment? The one that does or doesn't know. So yeah, very interesting. I like that. So yeah, Alma, thank you for these two great movies, recommending them. Because like I said, I hadn't watched The Thing in a very long time. So I forgot a lot about it. And Sharai, thank you so much for joining us for this. We had so much fun and we need to do this more.
Thank you so much. You're like it. Absolute joy to have in the conversation and to help everything. You're so much fun. We love you.
This is awesome. I can't wait to have y'all over on my street very soon.
Yay! And we're looking forward. We're looking forward to that. Now, real quick before I know we said in the beginning, but one more time, can you tell us, Sharai, where our listeners can find you?
Awesome. For my podcast, we have an allmylinks.com/A Nightmare on Fierce Street. And you can find all of our stuff in there. That means you can listen to us. You can find our Twitter, our Instagram, our Facebook, Patreon, all that good stuff. On Twitter, we're at Nightmare Fierce, and A Nightmare on Fierce Street on Facebook and Instagram. And we have fun. My personal shenanigans, I am at Miss Sharai on Instagram and Twitter. And you'll see me talk about the podcast, but also about writing and random stuff as it pops into my head, or I get mad about it while I'm watching it.
I love when you get upset about something.
Yeah, because the same. I love it because I'm like, I don't ever know how to put into words when I'm mad, but Thalia's the same way. She's like, "Oh, this made me mad. Let me write about it."
Yeah. No, you have to. You have to. Otherwise, it festers, and I don't want it to fester.
Yeah,
I want it out there so other people can see it and be like, maybe we shouldn't do this trope anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But thank you so much, Sharai and Alma. How can everybody get a hold of us? And go ahead.
Oh, yeah. You can go to our website, nightmaremoviepodcast.com. Our Instagram is at Nightmare Movie Podcast. Our Twitter is Nightmare on 5th. That's Nightmare on 5th. And you can email us at nightmaremoviepodcast@gmail.com.
So close.
So close. Dalia, what is our, we have a Buy Me a Coffee.
Yes. If you'd like to support our podcast, head over to buymeacoffee.com/nightmarepod. And again, thank you so much, Sharai, for joining us. And happy birthday, Alma.
Happy birthday. Thank you for having me. This was amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Yes, thank you.
We'll see y'all again soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.